So I was really excited. I was like, ooh, a black collapsible lens looks so good. Coming up, 2 brand new lenses from Voigtlander for Leica M-mount. I'm going to show you the difference between the 2 lenses, how they compare to existing similar lenses, and the usual example photos showing the different characteristics of each lens. The lenses we're talking about today are the new Voigtlander APO 50mm f3.5. You've got one in like the collapsible classic style, and then one in a rigid style. They are the same optics, but they have some differences. We'll cover all that. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So first off, what is the difference between the Type 1, get them the right way around, Type 1 and the Type 2 here. So the Type 1 is the collapsible design, similar to say the Type O, which I've reviewed recently. I can link that video at the end if you're interested. Very, very similar looking from first glance. And both these lenses are based on the classic Leica lenses. This is a 1950s Summicron 50 f2. Type 2 is a rigid version, so this one doesn't collapse, but optically they're both the same. Now there is one caveat. The caveat is, well, I guess 2 really, depending on how picky you are. Number 1, obviously they look different, but number 2, the paint jobs are also different. So you can get these lenses in black and silver, and I think black plus silver. I can show you some images on the screen. I asked them to send me the 2 black copies. Shout out to Flaghead Photographic for sending me the lenses to test. I will be sending them back. The collapsible is more of a matte black finish, and it matches better to my Leica M4P and Leica M10. The Type 2 is more of a shiny black, which would probably suit better. I just fingerprinted my window. The Type 2 is gloss black, which will suit black paint, say like M10Rs, any other black paint, like M cameras that you have. So visually, those are the differences. Size-wise, they're fairly similar. I can bring up some details on the screen to show the difference between the Type 1 and the Type 2 in terms of the weight and everything else. But the main kicker is the Type 1, which I prefer the look of, only has a close focus of 0.45 meters, whereas the Type 2, I'm looking at the box to remind myself, the Type 2 goes to 0.35 meters. So this is a game changer if you're an M camera user and you love the idea of getting closer and you don't want to buy a Leica SL that I use. So I normally cheat and use a Leica SL plus any 50mm mounted to a Light Lens Lab helicoid adapter, letting me get closer. You can't do that with the Leica M camera because there's no space to fit a adapter between an M lens and an M body. So the only way you're going to be able to get closer is to buy lenses that focus closer. Thankfully, in the recent years, they have started to make lenses that focus closer, and these new ones from Voigtlander are some of the closest focusing 50mm lenses that you can currently buy in Leica M-mount. So Type 2, 0.35, Type 1, 0.45. It doesn't sound much, but it is a lot in real-term use. Another thing to note, I must congratulate Voigtlander for finally making close focus lenses with a soft stop at 0.7 meters. So the problem with all previous Voigtlander lenses in recent years is you don't know if you're not looking at the lens when you go past 0.7 meters. So that means if you're using a rangefinder camera, say any camera without live view, so it can be film cameras, it can be my M262, unless you're looking on the top of the lens, you can't tell if you've gone under 0.7 meters, and so then there's a risk that you're going to misfocus your images when your lens is focused at less than 0.7 meters. Finally, Voigtlander have now started to do the soft stop like they used to do on the snapshot scope R, where there's a little bump at 0.7 meters, and so it's really nice. You can just kind of feel it, and so now you can feel when you go past 0.7 meters without even looking. So well done, Voigtlander. Finally, you've put that into your lenses. I hope you do that to all lenses in future because it can't be that difficult to manufacture, and it makes a big difference for rangefinder users. Okay, so that's the difference between Type 1 and Type 2. Sorry it took a while to get through all that. There is one kicker. The kicker is on a Type O lens or any collapsible lens, you just twist it, they collapse, and then you have a really nice compact lens setup. So I was really excited. I was like, ooh, a black collapsible lens looks so good. So I've got the Voigtlander lens out of the box. I was like, oh, I'm going to collapse it and it's going to give me a really nice compact setup on this, say, M4P. And I'm like twisting it, nothing happens. This lens is designed to look like a classic lens, like the Summicron here, but it's fixed. This does not collapse. So you probably will be disappointed if you expected it to collapse the same as I did. So heads up, this lens will not collapse. It's more for show than actual functionality. Okay, with all those details out the way, let's get into some sample photos and I'll show the characteristics of these lenses. As I say, optically they're the same, so all the photos you're going to see, you're going to get the same results, whether it's the Type 1 or the Type 2. First, vignetting. So unlike fast lenses, the f3.5 maximum aperture doesn't really suffer as much from vignetting. There is a little bit at f3.5 and f4, but it's mostly gone by 5.6, definitely by f8, as you see from this crop. Next, sun stars. Again, like with many lenses, you stop the lens down a bit, you will get some sun stars, but they're gone again once you stop it right down. And lens flare. This lens does flare in certain conditions and you get a total loss of image. Here you can see the difference with me using my hand and no hand. And again, hand and no hand, veiling flare or completely like whiteout flare. Chromatic aberrations. I was really impressed. Being an APO lens, this lens has no chromatic aberration. For my test, here's a zoom in. I'd expect to see it on the metal here, but nothing. Lens bokeh. This lens, if you get it close enough at the less than 0.7 meters, you can get some nice bokeh. What about lens sharpness? Lens sharpness is very good even from wide open, but it will improve again if you stop down, as you see from some of these sample photos. Even this cobweb shot wide open at minimum focus distance. And then here to test infinity, I shot the lens at different f-stops, and as you see, once you stop down, the sharpness does improve by 5.6 compared to wide open. Now, one question you may have is, are there any alternative Voigtlander lenses to the brand new Voigtlander 50 f3.5 APO lanthars? And actually there is. So here is your 50 3.5 APOs. You've then got the classic 50 3.5 non-APO, which is a bit of a quickie shape. And if you've seen all my videos, I've done a video where there's also a collapsible one of these in like a screw mount. Just search Mr. Leica 50mm Helia and you'll find this in two different versions. Let's look at both lenses shot side by side, just in a sharpness test, corner sharpness, to see how they compare. From this corner crop you can see the new APO has got better sharpness and better contrast. And then again on the brickwork detail you really see it here, the more of a veiling flare from the old Helia lens. So as you can see, the APOs beat the classic Helias in terms of edge sharpness, and you can see there was less haze and better contrast and things on the new APOs compared to the old Helia lens. That's option one. Now option two, you probably know that Voigtlander already make a 50mm APO lanthar. This is the 50mm f2 APO lanthar. So how does the 50 f2 APO compare to a 50 3.5 APO? Firstly, it's bigger and heavier, so watch out for that. But in terms of optics, how do they compare? Again, if you look at this corner crop, this time I think the f2 is sharper. Make up your own mind. Definitely on the bricks. And this is the f2, not even stop down. So yeah, maybe confusing, maybe interesting. For my testing, the 50 f2 still beats the brand new 50 3.5s. Both 50s, both APOs. So now I kind of wonder, what is the strength of the new lenses? Okay, so what is the verdict? After comparing the new APO 50 3.5s to the old 50 3.5 and the old 50 f2, I would say the strength of the new lens is for any Leica M users that want to get close to 0.7 meters. For my testing, these lenses are crazy sharp and as sharp as you need. And so, say for product photos, any type of, if you just love 50mm and you wish you could get closer, and 50mm is your go-to focal length, I would pick up the 50 3.5 APO lanthar in either the more matte black or the glossy black, depending on what camera you've got. And then that can be your do everything one 50mm lens. I think that would be the main reason to buy these lenses. If you're purely interested in optical performance, I'll probably get the older 50 f2. You can probably find one on eBay. I can put a link below to eBay if you're interested. One problem with the new lens is it is a 53.5 maximum aperture, and 3.5 isn't that sexy and it's not that useful. You're not going to get great bokeh in standard distance photos, say 1 meter or even 0.7 meters. And if you're shooting film, say on an M6, M4P, you often won't have enough light to shoot at f3.5. For that reason, you might be better suited with a faster 50, such as a 50 f2. Check out my videos on the 50 f2 APO Lanthar and the 50 f2 Typoc next. And as always, a huge thanks to my amazing patrons.